Hi, I'm Kat, marketer turned brand storyteller.
And I'm Candace, educator turned entrepreneur.
And you're listening to
Not Nice, Clever.
As CEOs and leaders, it's your job to always have the answers, but sometimes you need a little help. Leverage, if you will. We get it. This is the place for you.
So wherever you're listening, 5:30 a.m. club at the gym, on your way to your next meeting, or putting out today's fire, let's get into it.
Andrea Crowder is founder and CEO of The Unruly Entrepreneur and operates a 7-figure coaching business, leading a movement of over 37,000 unruly entrepreneurs on Instagram. Featured on entrepreneur.com, her clients call her human Xanax without the side effects and a literal business genius. She is certified in rapid resolution therapy and specializes in nervous system regulation, subconscious reprogramming, and is a spiritual entrepreneur in every right. When she's not celebrating her latest 6-figure month, you can find her traveling the world, giggling hysterically over dirty jokes with her team, or savoring a cool glass of cab on the Florida coast at sunset. We at Not Nice Clever are so excited to introduce to you Andrea Crowder. Thank you so much for making the time, Andrea. I'm really excited to have you on here. I know we've been working together for almost 2 years now, and I know you're newer to Candace's world, but I'm super excited for the Clever crew to just soak up all the things that are Andrea and Unruly and all the vibes. So one of the first questions that we ask here is like, what's one thing you can't shut up about? Which I know we talk about that a lot, but I think before we even get into that, it'd be really helpful if people knew kind of a little bit about your background, a little bit about your story, because I think it makes what you're doing now even more like, holy fuck. And so just would love for you to share a little bit about that with the Clever crew listening in here. What got you from there to here, and then what you're doing now.
Yeah, I was a teen mom, got pregnant with my first child, my son, really early. I say like very practically and probably realistically, he probably saved my life. I got pregnant at a time where the majority of my friends were drug dealers and strippers, myself included, and like that was my world. I went from being a pretty much straight A honor roll student, graduating high school, to moving out and kind of getting sucked up into a dark world. I started stripping so that I could make enough money to pay for community college for myself. And it was just too easy to kind of slip into that world. And the shininess of being able to make more and more in the period of about a 3-minute song became really alluring. But then, of course, in worlds like that, there's a lot of drugs and there's lying. So I got pregnant with my son after a near overdose. I was sitting in this room with a bunch of guys and everybody was doing cocaine, and I was out of cocaine, I was out of money and wanted more. And this guy started talking and he's like, yeah, my homie just got out of jail for killing that guy like 3 years ago. And I looked at him and I was like doing math in my head and I was like, what's your friend's name? And I won't say his name on the podcast, but I was like, your friend didn't kill that guy. That guy is my dad and he's still alive. And so my stepdad was shot when I was 14 years old in a gang initiation. And the bullet was like the width of 3 playing cards away from his heart. So he almost did die. And this guy looks at me and he's like, oh shit, you're the girl, you're the daughter. And he just slowly pushes this tray of cocaine across the table and was like, have as much as you want. Basically, like, I don't know what to do here. So just like, you can get high for free. I was so high that night that my friend, when I got back to my friend's house, her mom came outside to talk to us and I was like speaking gibberish, like English wouldn't come out of my mouth anymore. And I slept for probably like 25 hours, like the sun goes up, it goes down. You don't know if it's like morning, night anymore. And I got pregnant weeks after that, luckily after that overdose. But it was like the best thing that ever happened to me because there was no way that slip and slide that I was on was gonna get easier or better. And so pregnancy like really shook things up. I had to live for somebody else now. And even though that my life didn't change immediately, I made this commitment to my son one night. I was like, I promise you, someday I will become a woman that you will be proud of someday. He's like crying, I'm crying. He's like not sleeping, 2 a.m. colicky, one of those like feeds he won't latch. And I'm just like, if we're going to cry, we're going to cry together. But I promise you, like, this won't be our life for forever. And I spent the rest of my life making good on that promise, like slowly but surely, like finding different ways to educate myself, finding different career paths that I could make more money and do something that my kids could look at me someday and be proud of. I didn't even know what a personal development book was or the personal development world. I didn't know self-help. I didn't know there was a self-help section at Barnes and Noble. So, starting network marketing was the first kind of, I don't know, like jump into the personal development world. I never saw myself being like a personal development leader or somebody who's like the go-to person or who's sought after for like a transformational change, a mindset change. Like those words didn't make sense to me. But the only thing that did make sense to me is like, be the woman your kids can be proud of someday. So that was the thing that I started doing in little micro bits and pieces that got me into network marketing. I did really well because I love the idea of building community and creating connection. And I can sell anything that I really, really believe in. I'm not good at sales, but I am influential because I believe people know me for just being a truth teller. And that has really like lended itself well into my career being an online coach now. But I started network marketing, grew a team of like 3,000 people. When you don't get paid unless they get paid, you're highly motivated to learn leadership.
Very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was like that was a good jump start for me in my career. And then I broke off and I went into the coaching world.
And, I know there's probably going to be a lot of people listening, and I'm so excited for everyone listening to be able to meet you and start to explore your world and what you're offering, because even from when we first kind of crossed paths on Instagram and I invested in one of your earlier programs that's now no longer available, but now seeing the culmination of your most recent offering, which to me is encapsulated in the simple but so potent mantra of choosing pleasure over pressure. And you have that program offering now called the Pleasure Model. And I can't tell you, I've started to say it. Candace and I, we work with a lot of real estate agents with Sirhan and Ryan. And whenever I say that, it's kind of like I see their face go like, oh, well, wait. I'm like, yes, there's a better way. And so could you just kind of share a little bit about kind of what that's come from? I know RRT is a huge part of it. But I think it's such an important message for people to at least start to have in their awareness, even if they don't quite ingrain it yet.
Yeah. It doesn't even need to be ingrained, actually. It's just, I think most people do exactly that. That's why I was so excited to talk to you guys today, because I've had private clients that are real estate agents, and like, y'all fucking work hard. And the burnout is real.
Yeah.
And I think that that's because that's been the culture and people haven't questioned it. And so the pleasure model was created for anybody who would be considered themselves self-employed to learn how to filter your decisions differently, to notice if there was going to, most people are asking themselves what's going to be the immediate ROI on this decision, but most people aren't asking, if I say yes to this, will there be a long-term cost? We're looking at that initial bite of pizza, even though you're dairy free, and you're like, that's going to taste good. Not thinking about how shitty it's going to feel literally and metaphorically after you eat it. Right. And so I teach people a reward-based process where you're getting like immediate gratification and how to make decisions differently, how to communicate, how to be a leader, how to grow a team, using the concept of decision-making based off of long-term pleasure and reward and sustainability, so that you don't end up like wanting to burn a business to the ground later. I see really, really remarkable human beings, entrepreneurs who leave the game because they just can't sustain it anymore. It becomes too much. The burden becomes too big, or it becomes too heavy. And it does come at a cost of emotional health and eventually physical health, I see often. So when people start to do things a little bit differently, the way that I teach, some of the things that I hear right away aren't necessary. People will say like, I had the biggest month of my life, they're making more money. Yes, but the thing that I zoom in on are my headaches went away. My jaw tension started to release. I'm waking up more well rested. What can you do when you are exceptionally well? What can you build when you are exceptionally well? I'm looking at like treating the human, the system first, making that super strong with like insane endurance, remarkable creativity, intuition, mental clarity, more than you've ever had in your life. Then what can you do? Unstoppable. I want to build an unstoppable team of like a remarkable human beings who are going to impact people in amazing ways. And you don't have to be a product creator to impact human beings in an amazing way. I know for me, when I'm dealing with a real estate agent who's super stressed, peace, I'm out. I have a high standard for quality of relationship. So number one, you would have lost my business if I could feel your tension, and I'll feel it. Promise you I'll feel it. And also the way that people can make such a positive impact when you're doing any sort of deal. I was buying a $100,000 car and I could feel the sales guy's like tension and pressure of like his wife is waiting for them for an anniversary dinner. I said, go to your anniversary dinner. I promise you I'll be back in the morning. No. She's fine. I'm like, no, I'm not fine with it. I'm not fine with it. And he would not go home, and he lost my business because he wouldn't go home for his anniversary dinner. And I left that dealership and I went to another one and I bought a car that night. Oof. Like, because he would not honor his priority of relationship and connection with the person who is going to be in his life way longer than I will. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. So maybe can you expand upon how you kind of went from network marketing to your own kind of coaching business? How does that evolve?
It really happened organically because people saw me starting to have financial success on the internet, and I was doing that for a really long time. So I started at the end of 2011, and I didn't start creating my own online courses until 2020. So it wasn't actually that long ago. And I had co-created a course with my friend Amanda Francis in 2019 or 2018. I can't remember. So I had done something with her before, but I'd never done any solo courses or anything. And so people would just DM me and they'd be like, well, what do you do about this? And what system do you use for this? And people were just asking questions that were completely irrelevant to getting to where they were trying to go. So like most people, I'm like, there's a problem here. Let me solve this. This will not take long. I'll have you out of here. I'll have you out of this pinch in 7 days. And I created a program and I just called it the 7-day experience. I wouldn't even name it. I didn't brand it. I didn't have a sales page. I didn't do any marketing copy. I had no photo shoot, no logo, none of that shit. And I just held up my iPhone. I recorded a little video and I said, here's what I want to teach you guys. I'm going to take you through a program. I'm just going to answer your questions. And I'm going to teach you on these 7 topics. And I'm going to let you guys see the behind the scenes of my business. And I'll tell you why these things are a distraction and they're actually prolonging you getting to making the money. And so I just put people into a free Facebook group. I went live once a day, every single day for 7 days for maybe anywhere between 30 to 60 minutes. I sold that program. I made $14,000 in like a little over 7 days. It was my very first solo program ever. And then it became a digital program afterwards. I packaged it up and resold it. But I would just have people DM me and then I would give them my PayPal link. And I'm like, PayPal me $300. And I wrote out a terms and condition on a note on my phone and I screenshot it.
Yep.
And I sent it to them. And so that was how I became a coach, because I was just like, y'all are asking the wrong fucking questions.
Yeah. And some people are afraid to kind of just put things together and be a little scrappy. People want to spend a whole year like building out this entire course with all of these images and they haven't even sold anything yet. So I love that you're just like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for it and put myself out there.
Exactly.
That's super cool.
People front load their offers with like too much money, too much time invested. And then when they go to sell them, there's too much pressure to sell
Crickets.
it.
Yeah. There's pressure. Oh, there you go. Bringing it all back around. I see.
Always.
And we looped.
So at this point in your career, can you talk a little bit about how you define success for yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Success is, here's what I'm going to hear. I'm going to tell you guys, like, yes, we do like 100K plus months and like we do very, very well in my business. And so what most people are inclined to think is, of course you feel this way because you make good money. Let me tell you that I make good money because I prioritize this. So number one, success to me is knowing what my values are and honoring them in every single decision that I make in my business. So values, I prioritize community and connection. So I told you guys I did well in network marketing because I'm energized. I feel more alive when I'm doing things and I'm doing things with others. I like that we all share a common goal. It excites all of us. And so my team is amazing. I started with my assistant, and she really just like helped me answer emails and like book flights for me whenever I needed to. Like she didn't do a whole lot in my business. Now I have a team of like 7 or 8 people, and it truly is, I swear to God, it's like our team chat. My success is like, are we all having fun? Are we all feeling more alive in general on a daily basis than we would be if we weren't doing this? There's too many ways to make money in 2023.
Right.
You can make money doing anything. People put farts in jars and sell them. Like you can make money doing anything. Please stop thinking that the only way to make it is to suffer your way there. I think so. I look at like, are we increasing our overall aliveness by the work that we do? Do we make decisions? Do we build our business in a way that feels, somebody once said, energy rich, and I loved that. And I was like, if I feel energy rich after having done
on
something,
my phone background,
yes, go where there is
day.
energy rich, yeah, then I know I'm successful, and the money comes easier and faster than it ever has because I start with that.
Okay, so talk to the person who's listening right now who's like, but I don't know how I'm going to pay rent at the end of the month. So easy for you to say, specifically that person, what is the one thing they can do or think about that will shift their current reality?
I am such a big believer in having someone else pay your rent for you, meaning like a normal job for a little while if you're going to be self-employed. I think putting your back against the wall, some people are like, I love that shit. In that case, they are making a decision from pleasure, not pressure. They like their back against the wall. It helps them move. So that's a correct choice for them. But if that pressure is slowly like breaking you and you're noticing that you're avoiding things and your stress levels are really high, your sleep is starting to get compromised, you wake up and notice like you're clenching or grinding your teeth, like go get a normal job for a little while until you build enough money to pay your necessities. I just don't believe that we have to live in that world where it's like you have to have the big story of like from streets to penthouse or from car to penthouse and you did it all from your car. Some people have that story. I'm not thinking that that is going to be the fastest way to get there for most people. And I'm thinking that you can do it so much faster if you prioritize at least meeting your immediate needs first.
So true. I know. I as you were mentioning that, like that people like love their back up against the wall. Like my dad had a term for that. He would call it, you're just a peak performer. You perform best when you're he would say under pressure, but it never felt like pressure. And so like me waiting at the 11th hour to write the like 10-page paper or like a run of show for our team to go live on a training in front of hundreds of people. I'm just like, they're like, Kat, go time's at 5. I'm like, yeah, it's 4:47. I got a few minutes. Like, let me just tighten this up. Like, and I'll send it. And it's great. And it's always the best. But if I try to plan it weeks in advance, it's absolute shit. Like,
no, same. Yeah. And so in that case, that's correct for you. That's pleasure, not pressure. Because you're like, I know I'm a peak performer. I know that I show up at like the final hour and I perform really well. Yeah, no, I'm the same. Yeah. Like I'll plan my entire presentation or masterclass 7 minutes before I'm getting on. And I'm like, bullet, 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 bullet. We're ready. But you know your shit. That's the reason.
Yeah, that's
true. Yeah, that's true. It all starts with
the industry knowledge, the skills. You have that already.
Right.
So you can put anything on paper and make it
good, powerful,
make it look great. Yep, totally. Can you tell us a little bit about the last time you remember feeling pressure and being like, "Fuck this! Like this is not where it's at. This is for the birds." Like, is there a moment? Is there a client? Is there something that kind of was like, I'm done with this?
Well, the very last time was the car. I was like, I'm not spending $100,000 and feeling like this. No. And people do all the time.
That I am taking you away from your family, or that I'm working with someone who's not prioritizing their own values.
Right. And I could sense that he had like one foot with me, one foot with her, but he verbally telling me that he was present and he wasn't. And then also he didn't have what I wanted in inventory. So he was really trying to convince me that his inventory would make me happy. And I was just like,
Godspeed on that.
I'm not buying a sucker, bro. I'm buying $100,000 car. And this might be like a drop in the bucket for some people, but this is a big deal for me. It's the first time I've ever spent this much money on a vehicle. I want to enjoy the whole process.
I'm going to get what I want.
Yeah, I'm going to get what I want, number one.
Yes.
Number two, I want to enjoy the process. So like, and I had bought many cars from this guy before too. So I was so disappointed in the experience in this moment that I was like, okay, like you've lost my business. And now I have a new friend named Chuck. He is at the Del Rey Mercedes. I'm going to give Chuck a shout out.
To Chuck.
And I
Shout out, Chuck.
and I showed up and he's like, what can I do for you today? And I was like, I thought I was getting a new car for my birthday. And he's like, we're going to fix this for you. And I was like, thank you. He's like, I'm Chuck. Shook my hand. And I was like, nice to meet you, Chuck. He takes me into the back. The guy was like, we can't get you one. I wanted like moody. I wanted black. I wanted like the caramel, or people call it like the peanut butter colored interior. And like I had specific details that I wanted. And he's like, can't find it. Can't find it. I walk out to Chuck's lot and he has 7.
Oh my gosh.
I had so many to choose from. So that was the last time, but I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. There was a time where I said yes to a client. And
Ooh, we've all had this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're feeling it.
Kat already knows.
Yeah.
And I knew in my heart, I was like, as soon as we started talking afterwards, I was like, I'm not saying this in a mean way. I meant this genuinely. I wanted her to take the $10,000 that she had already paid me, and I wanted her to go back and hire a therapist. What she needed was trauma therapy, not a business coach. I was not trained in what I'm trained in today. I had no idea how to do RRT. I could be like emotionally supportive. I was trauma informed enough to know that she needed a real therapist and to know that I was not it. And I told her, and she was like, I'm going to do trauma therapy too. Please, can I stay in your group also? And I knew in my heart I should have said no. And I didn't. And man, if the whole group didn't feel her tense trauma the entire time as well, like, Kat, would you agree?
I would. It was just like this open tab, this elephant in the room, and I couldn't feel like I could go fully in because I didn't want to. My human design is very open. I can pick up a lot, and I didn't want to like expose myself in that way. But yeah, but it's hard. Like that was a $10,000 container, and you were deciding whether or not to. And yeah, the idea of turning away $10,000 to some people listening might be like, "What do you mean you turn that down?" And it's
right.
But we've all been in that space where we've said yes to a client who we just had a gut feeling like this wasn't the right experience for, because we're like, well, they're an adult. They're making their own decision. They think this is right for them. Like, you know, I'm not responsible for every person's outcomes. And so maybe you're like, sure. And then, you know, 2 days later, you're like, what the fuck did I do? And then it's even harder when you're in a group, because now if that person's missing, there's like some weird thing going on, right? So that's tough. And I feel like, I think I'm over it. I always think like I'm never doing that again. And then like 6 months goes by, a year goes by, and I'm like, see, I haven't done it. Everything's good. And then boom, it happens again. I'm like, oh, I thought I learned that lesson. But I think that for me, it's like, I've learned that working with someone who's indecisive on a consultation, there's something about that indecisive energy that I know is not going to lead to action taking when I'm working with them as a coach. And now I think I just need to cut it off earlier every single time. I don't know.
I have a mantra, and my mantra for sales is, it's not my job to get them to a yes. It's my job to get them to clear. And what that means is, are you clear about what you desire? Do you have enough information to make a valuable decision about whether this would feel good to have done for you? There's no way I could possibly know that for you. But did I do my job to get you clear on a yes or no? Then I did my job. Whether you say yes to me or no to me doesn't matter. But And the other thing that I do, I run my business. One of my values is like, obviously, like pleasure, not pressure. So I don't do programs or digital offers where it's like, you can only get this once a year. All of my programs you can get year round. Do I do sales on them and have like limited time offers? Of course I do. Yeah. But I tell people, they're like, okay, well, I have 1,700 left, but it would take me down to 0. And I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
Do not spend your last 17 fucking hundred. I know I'm good. Also, no. Absolutely fucking not. Come back to me next month or 5 months later.
Yep.
And then they always do. That money always comes back to me because they're like, damn, you were really looking out for me.
Yep. I've had that experience as well where I'm just like, I just don't think now's the time. I'm open. My DMs are open. You can DM me whenever you want. I'd be glad. But I think that if I were you, I would do X, Y, Z before you came to me. And 100% of those people will refer their friend to me and will come back around when they're ready. And I would rather someone have a great experience with me and say, she was awesome, she was authentic, she like wasn't trying to pressure me into doing something that wasn't right, because they'll always be like my biggest cheerleaders and fans if I'm upfront and honest with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you build a lot of connection and loyalty that way.
Yeah.
I'm thinking long term in my business. Like, do I want you around today or for the next 5 or 10 years?
Yeah. I think that's one thing. I didn't even really put it together until I was just listening to you now, Candace, but both of you, Andrea and Candace, you do such like community is so big for both of you. And it is for me too. But I think like Candace, just even looking from a purely analytical standpoint of like when you put something out there, just the engagement, the comments, the rallying, it's incredible. And I didn't realize that you guys both have that in common, but it's good. And I'm so glad that like you're in the world and doing it. Community is everything. It's truly like the invisible glue.
It really is. I think that's more important that I have like a group of people who are excited to say my name first in a room where it matters than the money, right? Because if you are excited to say my name first in a room, the money will come.
Yeah, the money will take care of it. Yeah,
I agree.
And actually, speaking of money, so this is like kind of an off-script question, but Andrea, you and I met last week because you're working on a project related to one of your other programs that I listen to probably once or twice a week when I'm walking my dog Piper or when I'm doing my journaling in the morning, and it's called Amore Money. And so I would love it. We've talked a lot about pleasure over pressure, emotional regulation, all of that, but specifically about money. I would love it if you just shared kind of your ethos behind that, what's coming up. I think it's a really useful tool and perspective for anyone who is a human in business, which last I checked, we all are.
Yeah. So I'm not a money expert, but I did write a money book. It's a program first, and then a lot of people were like, "Hey, this reads like a book," and so now I'm like staring at the manuscript. That's why I'm looking over. Yeah. So but I'm a people expert, right? And I'm really good with like people patterns and behaviors. And what I notice in the money world is that all of the advice on patterns and behaviors around money are very discipline based. And the majority do not respond to discipline. There's a small like 2% of people that they're like, that's my kink. It is their turn on. They want to be the person. They are the YouTube videos that's like, and I pushed beyond and I did the 3-minute and 40-minute mile. And I'm like, I would never.
Ever, ever, ever. Oh my God. No to cardio, please. That's a full body no.
It's a fucking no. Yeah. Like there's areas in my life where I'm like, yeah, it feels good to like edge and push myself, like orgasm, stuff like that, you know? But
like, there we go. We're recording this in Scorpio season. People had to know it was coming.
I mean, you know that it doesn't take a Scorpio season for that to come out of my mouth. But
no, it does not.
But I do love that it is. It could be a Saturday, yeah. It could be a Sunday morning. It just doesn't matter. So Amore Money is about a rewards-based system to work with your money. And so it is teaching you ways to feel an immediate reward as well as a long-term reward. What most people who are buying the money books, who are like, help me, help me, help me, their biggest problem isn't that they don't know what to do with money. You can Google a blog in 2 seconds and find some pretty decent tips on how to manage your money. It's that you don't know how to manage your own habits, patterns, and behaviors because you are designed to seek reward first. So it goes back to the analogy of like the pizza. Like, I want the bite of pizza. I don't feel so happy that I have done it. And so it teaches people how to get immediate reward and long-term reward, especially if like if you would identify as being more ADHD, which I do. And so it just teaches, it is a reward-based money system to basically hack yourself to doing things that long-term you will be like, damn, she's a badass bitch. Pretty glad I did that. Instead of feeling shame and guilt around money, which is what most people are doing. I think this book has done one of the most remarkable jobs at eliminating your guilt and shame around what has occurred so that you can build something more useful, positive around how you're working with money. Would you agree, Kat?
I would. I remember I was like on my way out from dinner the other night and somebody had mentioned like just a passing comment. They're like, they're trying to guilt you into staying. I was like, I don't subscribe to guilt and shame. They're useless. And they're like, what do you mean they're useless? I'm like, well, do they actually help you change your behavior? Or do you just keep doing the same shit over and over? And they're like, oh. And I'm like, yeah. Ouch. Right? So you remove the guilt and shame, and then you're just neutral and able to come from a place of strategy. We love being strategic. You can understand how to leverage. You can be creative. And it's just a very like breath of fresh air way of looking at money that I have not yet seen, that I am fully embodying now. And even Will is starting to notice and like ask questions about it. And I'm like, there we go. Modeling. Can't make men do anything, but you can model the behavior. Yeah. You got to model it. You can't mother them. So yeah, I fully agree.
Right. That's the whole book. Model it, don't mother. There's Kat's book.
There you go.
Just came through.
There we go.
Yeah, I just did a catch up with the Amore Money group right before this call. And that was some of the biggest things. Like a bunch of people were celebrating their finances are the best that they've ever been and have had like the highest month that they've ever had. But the biggest across the board celebration was, even though not everyone had gotten to peak higher months in their business yet, what they had done is they had neutralized their feelings around things that had occurred in their money. And they're like, I know the other stuff is coming now because I'm not so preoccupied with the guilt and the shame that was so people are walking around and they're like, guilt, shame, guilt, shame, guilt, shame. Then they feel so bad. They're like, give me a sugar rush of something. I need a little
Feast
dopamine.
Or famine.
Feast or famine. So then they go buy something that they're like, I don't even know why I bought that, because they needed that dopamine hit to be able to compensate for all of the high stress levels that they're feeling. So I think what Amore Money ultimately does is like lower those stress levels, increase dopamine in a really natural way, and then what you can build off of that is just like, watch out world.
Can you give us like one example of how you can increase your dopamine in a natural way if you are in that guilt and shame place around money?
How do I do that succinctly?
Right. That's my first thought.
Yeah. Well, first of all, like placing your attention at the end. So when people take that first bite of pizza, they're like, yum, yeah, that sounds really good. They don't think about after the last bite. So I say, okay, place your attention on the last bite. Then tell me, do you still want the first? And now you're not being disciplined about not eating the pizza. Your desire is to not feel like shit. So you're choosing desire instead of forcing discipline.
That was very succinct and easy to understand.
Great.
Yeah,
okay.
That's great. Yeah, use that one again.
It's almost like you do this for a living.
Crazy.
So, Andrea, before we get into rapid fire, is there anything that you want to share that we haven't yet asked you about today?
We've talked so much about Amore Money as a program and that it's coming out and as a book. And I want this work to be as accessible to as many people as possible. We're thinking it's going to come out maybe by December or January. So not too much longer. So if you guys want to DM me the word, the book, all one word, THEBOOK, all one word on my Instagram, which would be love_Andrea Crowder, then you guys will get on the email list for that book. I know we're going to do a bunch of like launch games and prizes and all the good things, but that will be just like the most accessible way to get into this work and to make money feel more fun and rewarding for you. Like no more discipline. Let's just say no to that from now on. That would be like my hope and dream for the world, because I think our thoughts around money take up so much fucking equity in our life. And I'm just like, what if we could free all of that up and gave all of that back to you, and you could use it towards relationships and love and like the good shit, you know? So that would be like my greatest dream right now, is like people finding more pleasure there. So just DM me, all one word, the book.
Amazing.
Awesome. All right. So this is our favorite part. Sometimes we love to just learn a little bit more about you as a human being, not just like what you do. And I know that really matters to you as well. But talk to us a little bit about maybe a childhood dream job before you became the coach that you are. What did you want to do?
Yes, I wanted to be just like Lisa Turtle from Saved by the Bell. And I wanted to be a fashion designer. She was like my inspiration. I would sit there at my job at the aquatic center. So I was like the front desk person at like this huge pool where little kids came to take swim lessons. Let me tell you, do not tell a suburban mother that she can't get her child into the next level of swim lessons, especially if she thinks that she's going to be a future gold medalist. And you're just sitting there at 16 like, I don't know what to tell you, lady, but there's only 7 spots and they are all gone.
Hilarious.
So I would just sit there in between having like all the suburban moms yell at me.
Dreaming of being Lisa Turtle.
And I would sketch clothing. I wonder if I have my sketchbook somewhere. I bet my mom has it.
That would be wild. I love it.
Yeah.
Are you still like into like fashion, styling, that kind of thing?
No, I don't even remember the labels of clothes that I'm wearing. People are like, where'd you buy that? And I'm like, fuck, guys, I'm not that kind of influencer. I'm like, you guys know, take a left at 7-Eleven. That's how I give directions to find clothing too.
What is your go-to lazy dinner when you've just had a day? It's been too much. What is your lazy go-to?
I am a sucker for an ahi tuna bowl. Yeah.
That does not feel like a lazy dinner to me.
Well, I can have it delivered.
Uber Eats.
There you go. Uber Eats. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Wait, a lazy dinner is one that I don't make even when I'm inspired and have energy. I don't cook at all. So just like my lazy dinner, ahi tuna bowl. I order everything though.
I love it. Okay. Hot or iced coffee?
Hot always, even if it's 106 degrees.
Oh,
I'm a psychopath.
And
Yeah,
do
you and Will, I can't.
Black? Do you have black coffee?
Black Americano, 2 stevia.
Ooh, there you go.
There we go.
What is your favorite non-curse word, one word insult? This one gets people.
I just feel like I got handcuffed, but not in the good way. Oh, I know what it is. Adorable.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
That's
Adorable.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Adorable.
Oh my goodness. We had another guest on here. Her name is Tiffany. And she was like, I don't like it when people call me generic. And I'm like, generic and adorable. They seem to be on the same level here.
Generic definitely feels like an insult.
An insult,
wow.
right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Ouch. Especially for an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you nervous?
Rapid fire questions.
How about who is your celebrity crush or was? Doesn't have to be current.
Just aesthetically, David Beckham is like, wow.
I get that. Yes, I understand.
But yeah, I do love a funny. The guy that I'm dating right now would say he's my celebrity crush. he's like the well-known dentist in town, so he's like, I am a celebrity.
Wait, now I want to know. Did you like meet him at the dentist's office? Was he your dentist?
No, he's
Okay.
not. The funny story, I will tell you guys this story. It's hilarious. So I was talking with a psychic and she's like, you're going to meet someone. And it's like you guys went to the same concert, but you didn't run into each other. You've been circling each other. You just haven't met yet. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I've been dating playfully since my ending my marriage May of 2022. And I was like, yeah, I'm not really interested in any sort of like long-term monogamous commitment or whatever. Like, I just want to enjoy my life. I had been married since I was a baby, like 20 years basically.
Oh, wow.
So August, I was like, okay, I'm kind of getting tired of the frantic energy of dating and like things are inconsistent.
She's like 4 months in and she's already tired of it.
No. Like
no,
August.
Okay.
2 August later.
I was like, girl, I didn't get married till I was 38 and 0.9. So there was a lot of that.
I'm not saying that I'm not saying like I'm looking for marriage. Well, I'm not. I am saying I'm not looking for marriage for sure. But I was looking for more consistency. I was like, okay, I think I'm ready for at least monogamy.
Yeah.
And so August, I remember it was 8/8, Lionsgate portal. And I was like, fine, I'll set the intention. I'm ready now. I got so clear. I wrote it out exactly what I wanted. September 12th, so almost a little over a month later, I meet this guy on Hinge, and I tell he laughs at the fact that he's like, I told him, I was like, I don't even know how I matched with you, because his profile was like so sparse, and he's like pointing at his face, and I was like, yes, I know you're fine, but there's plenty of fine men in southern Florida. Like, I got single in like the most beautiful place on the planet. So I was like, I obviously, you know me now, and you know I need like more depth as well. But his first message to me, I said something about like loving banter in my profile. His message was, I'm number 2 for banter in the state, but how's your winking game? And I was like, how did this man just call out my number 1 weakness? I'm the worst winker. So even though his profile was trash, I was like, okay, he's interesting.
Yeah.
So we're chatting, and the penthouse that did I mention the penthouse, or was that earlier? Like, I can't remember which
you
call
didn't
that was
mention
on.
it yet.
Okay. Anyways, I almost rented this penthouse in downtown Fort Lauderdale, in the same building that he's living in. I'm finding out, and I was like, holy shit, I almost rented in that same building. And then I'm telling him about this place that I rented, and I was like, it's so crazy because it turns out that I'm renting from my dentist. And I mentioned her name, and he's like, wait, she was just in my office this morning. So he's an oral surgeon. He doesn't do like regular dentistry, but they're right across the street from each other. They know each other, and their offices are directly across the street. So, and then my UPS building is like steps down from his main apartment building. So I walk past it almost every single day. So
Crazy.
Yeah. So anyways, what was the original question? I like got so distracted and like
I don't even know, but I just wanted to know how you guys met.
Oh, yeah.
So that's it. Yeah, I met my husband on Bumble.
I love it.
So
never been on Bumble. Hinge apparently worked well for me though.
Love it.
So far, so good.
What's the last thing that you bought online?
And wait, I haven't purchased that yet. So I just bought. It's like it's in my Amazon cart. I'm like trying to think of the name of it, but it's like one of those like outlets that gives you more outlets.
Oh yes, those are so necessary.
An outlet hub.
An outlet hub.
There we go.
That was the last thing that I purchased.
So my husband and I have this debate. I like to get to the airport and just like walk right onto the plane, like no time for dilly-dallying. And he likes to get to the airport like 2 hours ahead of time and just like relax and be nonchalant. Which one are you?
I'll meet you there if you're going to get there early. Yeah, I'm not coming with you. We'll take our own purse. Absolutely not. Will I fucking sit there for a long time? No.
Right. I wholeheartedly agree. I'm taking all these episodes and clipping all together everyone who says that I'm right on this.
Okay, but then to be fair, we need to clip together all the ones who say that I'm right and Dom is right, Dom, your husband, because I'm the same way.
They're few and far between.
Okay, all right. Fine. Well, that's true. Have to tally.
Kat and I did meet at an airport for the first time accidentally.
Really?
I mean, we in person, like we lived in the same city for a really long time, but we'd never met in person. I was like, wait, you're at the airport, I'm at the airport. What?
Yeah.
That's so
We were flying out. You were flying to Atlanta and we were flying to DC. And we
right.
had a
And you guys were
connecting flight.
stopping in Atlanta. So we're on the same plane, actually. And we're like, wait a second, we get to meet each other in person accidentally. But you were there much earlier than I was.
I was. Because I was there. And then Will's like all grumpy because I'm having to get him up. And yeah, he's in your guys' camp as far as just like sprinting to the gate as the doors are closing.
Yes.
So Kat is obsessed with Marvel, and I don't really get the whole comic book superhero thing, but she loves it. If you had your own superpower, what would that be?
I feel like I do have a superpower, but okay.
That's a good answer.
I can delete suffering. I don't know. Can I be? I would say I would like to be able to teleport
Yeah.
myself and food.
You need to teleport food to you. Like you're like, I'm really feeling Italian today.
Yeah.
Can I like teleport food in? Yeah.
Yeah. Private chefs also, that would be nice. Teleport myself and others and food and objects.
Love it.
Teleport everything.
I would just like to manipulate reality.
The fabric of reality. Just a small order. Small order.
That's it.
Thanks for joining us on Not Nice, Clever.
Remember to follow Not Nice Clever wherever you listen to audio.
And if you haven't already, drop that 5-star review.
Share your takeaways. Tell us your story. We love to hear it.
Signing off, you're not so nice, but oh so clever besties that mean business.
See you soon.